Hey, gang, coming up on Finding Better Podcast, episode 180, Lillian Savoie is joining me again, and we're going to talk about starting clean. Now, what do we mean? It's really a cool topic, especially when we're talking about finding better. There's different kind of energies out there. You got your physical energy, you got mental energy, you got emotional energy, you got spiritual energy. All those different kinds of things come to bear on our lives. And it's true. It's true. And Lily and I are going to talk about starting clean and doing some of that energy work because the fact of the matter is, if not for energy, this is just a piece of meat, right? And so we're going to talk about that. And what's really cool is that towards the end of the session, she's going to take us through a meditation. And it's really cool. It's something that I've been using the last couple of days, and it's something that you can use too. Clears everything away, helps you start clean. Share this. Here we go. Hello, 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 and welcome back to our Finding Better podcast. My name is John Suzuki, and I am your host. And this is where we share real life experiences, lived experiences, and wisdom of people who have been there and done that. And, because sometimes I have found that the best path to success, a lot of times, is by following in the footsteps of people who have been there and done it. Lillian Savoie is joining me again today. I enjoyed our conversation so much that I've invited her back. And we're going to talk about how to design a life you love by listening to your spirit. And, like I said many times before, and like I just said, we've gotten so smart we've forgotten our heart. And so this is right along with that. Okay, so who is Lillian? By the way, Lillian, welcome to Finding Better. Thank you for
Thank
joining me again.
you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. All right. So Lillian is a health coach and she's host of a podcast called Awaken Change. Isn't that cool? I mean, we're all about finding better and kind of the same thing along the same lines. She's also the author of a book called Fill Your Soul the Feminine Way. Now, gentlemen, before you hang up the phone, listen up. We have a lot to learn from Lillian. All right. And so but anyway, she helps folks create balance in their personal life and work lives. Eh? And shows us how to create what you want when you want it. And everything she teaches, she's been through herself, which is really cool. And it's all about trusting the universe and again, honoring your inner spirit. And we're going to talk, and there's different energies and there's different spirits that we all have. We have the physical energy and the mental energy, emotional energy, spiritual energy, all this stuff. And we're going to talk about that because, what I found is a lot of times we don't talk about this stuff enough. And so much of it are keys to finding better. Lillian, thrilled to have you.
Okay, I'm excited. We're just gonna dive on in. I love
I
it. That was a great introduction.
I'm just gonna hand it over to you. We could talk about observe, notice, take action, or you can take it any direction you want. Go.
Yes. Okay. So I have been on an interesting journey the last 2 weeks with parasites and cleansing my outer aura and my outer energetic body, and then doing it
Which we
on
all
the
have. We all have an aura,
yes.
right?
And so you may ask, like, what is an aura? Right? But that is part of the energy that you just said, the spiritual part of the energy. And right now, it's such an exciting time to be alive because the science behind the biofield and the aura is coming out into the world. It is not being hushed. It is being hushed on, Facebook, Instagram, on media. But if you dig and you go deeper to the medical doctors that have been doing this for 40, 50 years, they are finally providing us with the um, pictures. They actually have pictures of our energetic field now that you can take a picture of your field and see it. People used to
Really?
think you were crazy to talk
Right.
about this stuff,
Right.
and it is becoming mainstream.
So is it a special camera
It
or
is a special camera. I do not own one, but I have read a couple of the books because during my Reiki Master training, they talked about this a lot. You know, we have to work on the layers of our energetic field and our physical body, and we can't skip a step. Okay, so we have our physical body, but then we have our mental body, which is a layer of the energy. Okay, then we have our emotional, spiritual, and etheric. Okay, so and we don't have to get into technical stuff. It's just imagine like your physical body with layers of energy outside of the body that now they can actually document. They have been able to solve illnesses and disease looking at these auras. And there's lots of books on Amazon. I wouldn't say lots, but there's a few books on Amazon that you can dig into if that's your jam. And what it has really taught me is that we cannot just cleanse and support the physical body. We have to tap into our intuition and we have to support our mental body, our emotional body, our spiritual body, because we are all one, and that was so cliche for a long time, John. Don't you remember that? Like, we are all one.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. But now it makes sense, right? Because the ancient yogis used to tell us that, and we've watched, Sadhguru and Deepak and Joe Dispenza and all those big names say this over and over again. But now the medical doctors that are also stepping up with a voice now because they're not scared of the man in the black suit.
Right.
Right? So now everybody's kind of stepping out saying, hey, these people weren't just yogis, they were teachers, and they were trying to teach us stuff. We just needed, as scientists, to be able to bring it to the forefront so that regular humans like me and you, just trying to live our better life, right? That we actually know what the hell they're talking about.
And you know what? The what the hell they're talking about has been around for centuries.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it has just been within the last century that Western medicine has arisen and Western science and there's a lot of things that science can't explain, right?
Yes.
And but now sounds like we're starting to.
Oh, we're starting to. So I did kind of a wild thing after this year I'm 49, so I'm almost in my next half of my life, which I'm very excited about. I think it's a blessing to be able to age.
It is totally, it sucks, right? I mean,
It's not for the weak.
you wake up in the morning with aches and pains in places that you never knew existed,
I
and
know.
right, and it
Yeah.
takes you a longer to heal. But you're right; it's an honor, it's a privilege, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful as much as it sucks.
Yeah. I mean,
You have
I
to be
have all the
grateful.
gadgets in my house right now. So I've invested in a biophotonic light machine, two of them, and I was meditating this morning. Now, the biophotonic light machines are basically like glorified. If you take all the gases of the atmosphere and put them in hand blown glass and then put it on a generator with violet light, it's basically like this amazing way to meditate. So I'm meditating this morning. It's a 15-minute cycle. And I feel this strain in my middle of my back. And I was like, oh God, please don't let that muscle tear because I'm about to go to
Don't
yoga.
let it pop. Yeah.
Ah. Okay, so back to, all this stuff is coming out now. So as a health coach, which I
So
really have done.
wait. Go back to your meditation with the light. So
Okay.
what happened and why do you use that light?
So every day I try to get 15 minutes in because that's the turn of the dial. So the generator that holds all these fancy gases, um, it basically it cleanses off all the layers that we were talking about. Okay, so we cleanses off my spiritual layer, my emotional layer, my etheric layer, and my mental layer. Now, why do I want to cleanse off my layers of energy? Because this is kind of how I put it to make it easy. Let's say you're getting a message from the universe, and it could be good or bad. Okay. So, I mean, we won't go into duality, but let's just say on a human level, good or bad, right? And it sticks on our etheric layer. That is the first message that we receive technically. Now, if you are not a person that is observing all the time or dialed into noticing things, or even a person that's used to taking action, you're going to miss that first message. Now, let's say that first message is, you have a cancer cell in your body, or let's do parasites because that's my love, my first love. You have a parasite that you just got from your Mexico trip, or for me, it was Puerto Rico. Okay, you got a parasite from your Puerto Rico trip that you need to take care of. And that's stuck in my etheric body, my aura. And what if then I said, at the time he wasn't my husband, but now he is. 3 days later, after I got that parasite, I couldn't zip my dress for New Year's Eve. We went on a 5-day trip. By day 2, the parasite was already in me, making me bloat, couldn't zip my dress. So, did I notice that I had a parasite? No. Did I all of a sudden couldn't zip my dress and couldn't, go out for New Year's? Yes. It wasn't until I got home that I was like, oh, I need to take action because, first of all, I can't fit in my clothes, and that's weird. I was only gone for 5 days. Number 2, my stomach is bloated. I look 3 months pregnant. And what did I eat? So you go back to the observer stage. What did I eat? Oh, I ate fresh scallops off the boat, barely cooked. See, but my intuition told me that in the first level of my energy field, and it stuck. But I didn't listen because I was newly in love and we were going on a party. We had New Year's plans and, this was the man of my dreams. So I didn't notice it.
So something told you that something was wrong.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
it didn't come out. It didn't come out and say you got a parasite, right?
No,
It was just something's wrong. You observed something's wrong. You decided to ignore it.
I
And
decided
then
to
you
ignore it.
noticed that you're bloated
Yeah,
and
that
you
was the physical
decided
symptom.
and huh?
That was the physical symptom.
And
Yes,
you ignored it.
did.
And then okay, this is the observe, notice, and take action thing.
That's
So
right.
then you were forced to take action,
Forced. Yes.
right? Because you were in pain, and then you went back and you said, okay, what happened? And you went back into the observe, notice, take action.
Yeah.
Now, what should have happened?
Okay, so when you're out of country, number one, right, what's the first thing you think of when you go out of country and you're eating and drinking? Just off the top of your head, intuitively,
I don't
what
want to get
comes in?
sick.
Okay, good. All right, and then we're going to ask your intuition, John. Like, what's the second thing that comes in? So you don't want to get sick. So what's the second thing that comes in right now? Three
Drink
seconds is what you have.
drink bottled water, filtered water.
Perfect. Exactly. Okay. What's the third thing that's coming in right now?
Make sure you wipe the bottle cap.
Ooh, see, I didn't even get that one. My intuition went to the third phase, which was eat cooked food.
Okay. Yep, that too.
Okay. So if we are dialed in to our intuition, we are going to get the messages on the first layer, which is the energetic layer. We don't have to wait until it causes havoc in our actual physical layer.
So in your case, you wouldn't have eaten the raw or lightly cooked scallops.
No way. I just
Okay.
ignored that because, I'm in love and
Yeah, 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 yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah,
Okay.
right?
So it's not just observe, notice, and take action. It's observe and accept, take notice and accept, and take action and accept,
I
right?
love that. Yes, insert accept after every step.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, and you're talking, I don't, this conversation doesn't happen to me every day. And I doubt that it happens with people every day. But I think everybody believes that we do have different energies. I talked a little bit earlier. You got the physical energy, the mental energy, the emotional energy, right? Even spiritual energy. We're all spirits. I mean, when all is said and done, all of this just turns to meat, and then it turns into worm food, and then we get pooped out of worms. And
See, you're
so,
back to parasites. Look
right?
at you.
Exactly, exactly. I'm hooked. I'm hooked on parasites.
See?
Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about different forms of parasites, because when I think of parasites, the first thing I think of is fish, right? Because I'm a fisherman, and I like to go tuna fishing, and everybody knows there's parasites in everything. Let's talk about parasites as people.
Yeah,
How do
so
you?
okay, let's
Yeah.
think of it as a frequency or a vibration,
Okay.
right? So now the literature is coming out. Well, it's been out. There's lots of PhDs that have written books on parasites. So, but as we awaken more to non-Western, right, medicine, and
Yes.
we awaken
Yes.
more to the integrative whole body approach, right? There's so much good information. Hulda Clark is one really good book that your listeners, if they're obsessed with parasites like I am, or they want to know more. Okay, so for example, parasites all have a frequency. Okay, the actual parasite. I'm talking from a dust mite to a roundworm. They have all the different frequencies that we live. Human body has frequencies, right? Your frequency is different than my frequency. And if I meditate and you don't for the day, my frequency is going to be higher. If you meditate and I don't, or you're having a good day and I'm not, our frequencies are different.
Hmm.
Okay, so parasites are attracted to, and we ingest them. If you have pets and, go tuna fishing and eat fresh sashimi and all that stuff, then we ingest parasites all day long. But the reason why some people suffer and some people don't is because of the frequencies, which is fascinating. Same thing for spiritual parasites, right? People that are leeches, actual humans that are sucking out your energy.
That's a that's a real thing.
It's a real thing. A lot of
Seriously.
people in the spiritual world call them vampires or, think about like sucking your blood. But think about what an actual parasite does. An actual parasite eats viruses, heavy metals, things that are wrong in our body. So we have to thank the parasite on one end. I'm talking about the actual parasite now, because it's eating the stuff that's not good for us. It is eating the pollutants and the toxins, and that's how they live. So, but when we cleanse them, this is is such a gross part, and this is in her book, Hulda's book. Okay,
Okay, here we go.
when we go to kill the parasite with a parasite cleanse, it re-releases the viruses that they have been eating into our bloodstream again.
Bummer.
Isn't that disgusting? I was like floored. No wonder people get sick doing parasite cleanses. I had no idea. I've been cleansing for 7 years, and that was no, God, I think I'm on 10 of my Puerto Rico trip. So, because my theory is always be detoxing, ABD, always be cleansing, ABC, always be detoxing, ABD. So, 10 years later, I'm just finding out the parasites, once you kill them off, re-release the viruses that they've been eating and taking care of you in your body. What? That is mind-blowing to me. So no
Okay, so
wonder people get sick.
so we just killed the thing that was
Kind
protected.
of helping us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Hulda, and this, I am not a medical doctor, Hulda claims everything that we have learned about cancer up until this day, what they're forgetting, in her opinion, is that all cancers are caused technically by parasites or viruses. Isn't that fascinating? So,
Okay. S- So
yeah,
if you
so
kill the
her
parasites, they release viruses. So it becomes a never-ending cycle.
right, which is why people get so frustrated with the whole cleansing thing and they just say screw it and give up. It's a lot easier just to eat what you want when you want and then deal with it later on your 80s and then you can make a decision. The bad thing is that not all of us do get to live that long if we don't cleanse or take care of ourselves or
Mm.
cleanse our energetic body. I would have probably already been dead by now. I really probably would have been dead at round 43, 44 at my sickest, you know? So observing where you are in your journey, right? Noticing, do you feel good? Do you look good? Do you are you, are you participating in your health? And then taking action. If you're frustrated, then you read books and dive in and hire coaches, or you become your own advocate and you dive in and do things and, for yourself. There's many ways to do that. But okay, so going back to our your question of parasites, they come in bug form, they also come in people form. And so
It's
where do you
this is I think a lot of us, me included, are kind of laughing right now
well, yeah, it
because
sounds
we're
so
going,
silly, doesn't it?
we've often, jokingly, mentally, or directly called people parasites, right? And now you're saying that it's true. I mean, people can be parasites
Yeah, and
to other people.
other people, and also they're spiritual parasites, which, I don't know how
Oh yeah.
wild your listeners are, but they will come from other realms. I mean, I was a spiritual coach and still am for many, many years. So nothing really freaks me out or scares me or, blows my panties off. I mean, it's just like, it just is it is what it is.
It
There
is
is
what it
other,
is.
yeah, there are other realms where there are energies that are parasites, and they do come in and they do stick to us, and we do have to cleanse them off energetically.
And these are spiritual energies.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, so see, we already have like three types. Now, you and I haven't even talked about the mental parasites. That would be probably more of what you're used to seeing, by talking to people all day long. What is the mental story that's holding you back?
Indeed.
What is the story that you are trying to help people live a better life and they just say, "Ugh, I can't. It seems too hard."
And the idea is to cleanse those.
And to cleanse those. And now there's such cool stuff. There's meditation retreats to help cleanse those. There's all types of yoga and breath work. There's somatic releases. There's belief codes and emotion code certification programs out there that you can find practitioners out there. And then you can do it yourself. You can write down your story and say, do I believe that story? Or is that my parents'
Ooh,
story?
ooh. Write down your story. That can be a really hard thing to do if you're going to be honest with yourself,
Oh, I know.
right? I mean,
Totally.
it can be heartbreaking because, one of the things, people, our world and our environment, and especially the world that we live in, has screwed us up so badly that we don't know how screwed up we are. And you know, just a couple of examples, I call them messages of inadequacy. They're just bombarding us,
I love
right?
that.
Whether it be through advertisement, you have to buy this or your life is going to suck. Can't be happy if you don't buy what I'm selling you. Or through social media, you know,
Hmm.
be like
Comparison.
me. Yeah, comparison.
Yeah.
And so how do you, and I do want to get back to how to cleanse the human parasites out of your life, but um, what we're talking about right now in terms of writing your story and asking yourself if it's true or not. How do you get to the point to where, I mean, I can imagine writing my story and oh, my life is great and everything is great and I got these friends and I got these grandkids and I get to go fishing and all the stuff. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the truth of your story.
Mhm.
the what you're saying, your self-talk, what are the beliefs that have been stuck in your head that you're not good enough or you'll never amount to anything or even things that people haven't said. But, I remember thinking to myself that my dad didn't like me because he walked out the door in the middle of a conversation. Well, that's nothing he said to me. It was an interpretation I stuck in my head. And I
How
feel
long
like
did you have
that's the
that
kind of
story?
stuff, huh?
How long did you have that story then? This is a great example. How long did you have that story that your dad didn't like you? How long did you carry that around for?
Until about 3 years ago. I'm 64 years old.
Okay, and when was that? When did that happen?
It was when did I realize?
Well, when did he walk out on your conversation? How old
Oh
were you?
God. I mean, when I was 12,
There you go. So, okay, so
right?
50, 50 plus years, right? You thought your dad didn't like you. So, where in your life did that hold you back? Where
Oh,
was that a parasite in your life that you didn't observe until you were 64?
oh my God. I never thought of it as a parasite.
Now you do.
Now I understand why you love parasites. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
what
am
an what an
obsessed. Yes.
interesting, okay, really interesting. So what was your question?
Okay, so you were 12 when he walked out
Yep.
of the
Yep.
conversation. At 12, your ego said, "Oh, your dad doesn't like you." Right? And at
Hmm.
64, you had some kind of awakening. Do you remember what it
I
was?
do.
Okay.
I
Do you want
do.
to share?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was talking to somebody and they were saying, have and we were talking about my dad, and they asked me, have you forgiven your dad? And I said, yeah, I have. I have forgiven my dad. He goes, have you truly forgiven your dad? And I said, what do you mean by that? He says, have you have you ever thought about your dad's life, on the life that he lived and the experiences that he had and the hardships that he went through? And he was a soldier, he was a Japanese American soldier during World War II fighting the Japanese.
Yeah, yikes.
Have you thought about why he makes decisions the way he does? Have you thought about the experiences where he got screwed?
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, I had no idea what this man went through. And I have no idea what was going through his mind. If anything, when he walked out the door, he might have just thought, okay, we're done with our conversation. I need to go wash the car. I mean,
Yes.
right? And it was from that conversation that I really truly forgave my dad, because I mean, there were a whole bunch of other things that went on. I mean, he was mentally
Oh, I'm
abusive to my
sure.
to
As a
my mom,
soldier.
and just
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, I mean, he was a wonderful provider, but he sucked in a lot of ways at being a dad.
Yeah. That generation was really,
Tough
really tough.
generation. Yeah, the greatest generation was a tough generation to grow
Yeah.
up
But they
under.
fought the wars, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And um, so, so using the metaphor that we're talking about here, that was the moment I let that parasite go. I killed
And
it.
so you found compassion for your dad, which is what the universe, your spirit needed for you to grow. Okay.
Yeah.
For you to keep growing as a man, your spirit, which you probably got the messages beforehand, before this awakening, but your first message on your etheric field was, I probably need more compassion for my father. But you
Yeah.
were finally
Yeah.
ready at 64.
Yeah.
Okay. And you let that parasite go. Now, curious question. Did you have a physical healing reaction or an emotional healing reaction or a mental healing reaction? And when I say healing reaction, I mean a release of some kind. Did you cry? Did you have diarrhea? Did you sleep for the next day? Did you have the best sleep of your life? Did you crave some kind of gourmet meal? Did you have a headache? Did you get a fever?
Okay, I know exactly what I felt. I cried. I cried, and I felt this incredible sense of relief.
Mm.
I just I felt like I was letting it go. And I mentor people all the time. In fact, a very good friend of mine who's a pastor, he once told me, he says, forgiveness is a greater miracle than the parting of the Red Sea.
Mm.
Learning to forgive people, and it's the hardest thing to do. And I thought I had forgiven my dad, but I realized during that conversation that I had no clue. And all of a sudden, I started feeling guilty, right? Because I imagined all the things that he went through. I started thinking, because I knew he got screwed. I knew that he lived a tough life, but
Yeah.
it wasn't until that conversation that I was ready to really dive a little to the next level
Hmm.
of understanding. And all of a sudden, my dad went to from, I mean, really being a parasite
Being
in
someone
me.
that you loved.
Yeah. To kind of being more of a hero in my life.
Aw.
And that I'm starting to, that was amazing. I let it go. I let it go. And I brought the love in. And I held that. I held that in me, that parasite in me, for over half a century. And so the way that you framed it, of the spiritual energy and the emotional energy, the mental energy, even the physical energy, um, it was all affected, you know? So that's pretty cool. Thank you. Are we back?
Hey. Yeah,
Okay, good.
we're back.
Okay. Did you hear what I said? Sorry.
Yes.
I think we had a little
Yes.
glitch.
And it was beautiful. And what I was going to tell you, because you're the perfect example of now you are living and breathing and healthy, right? You don't have any cancer, you don't have any long-term diseases, correct?
Right, right. Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
A lot of people that would be in your shoes would not be that way because holding a 50-year plus parasite, whether it be a mental baggage, emotional baggage, spiritual baggage, or physical, that is what doctors and um, cannot put their finger on. That's what they can't put their finger on is, and that's why it's so important for us to cleanse every layer. Because if you go in and you have, an illness, you're not going to be talking about a 50-year grudge that you had from your dad. You're going to be talking about the illness.
Right.
So we have, and what I love about like coming back in a human body is the healer is you. It is not me healing you. It is not you healing me. It is you healing you and me healing me. And you healed yourself that day. And if you dug even deeper in the layers, oh, I have goosebumps, which is my intuition saying yes, but you don't have to agree with me. But it's just my intuition saying that. But at that phase of your life, even though you're a grandparent and a dad and a husband and all of that, some part of you was probably like, okay, now I'm probably okay to die, which sounds morbid, but think about it. You've been holding that frequency, that tension for 50 years, and you finally let it go. So
Hmm.
there was probably a part in your heart that was like, life is better now.
Yeah. For me, it was a feeling of, okay, I can move on.
Yeah.
I can move on because one of the things that I lived with all my life is, God, I don't want to be like him.
And then what ends up happening?
It just limits you. I mean,
It limits you, and then you end up being like them.
and yeah, and then yeah, and then when those situations come up where I go, oh my God, that's just what my dad would have done. I'm
Yes.
I'm just hating myself. I'm like, stop it, don't be like that, don't do that. right?
Yes.
And and but there are so many amazing things about my dad, right? That
Right.
that I want to have part of me.
Yes.
And yeah, but I resisted
Yeah.
for
And
50 years.
in the spiritual world, we're calling that cutting the cords, right? If you do Reiki or some energy healing, you're cutting the cord. Literally this cord of energy between you and your father that's been there for 50 years. So you cut the cord, right? You
Yeah.
did that. You decided to have compassion. You cut the cord, which we are all empowered to cut our own cords and start again.
So let me shift gears here. We talk about cancer and diseases, okay? Using that metaphor of cutting that cord, how does one heal themselves?
So we're going back, I know, to the empowerment.
Okay.
Are you empowering yourself and giving yourself permission to heal yourself? You're actually SELF. Are we giving our own self permission? Because are we putting all of our power in a doctor's hands?
Ah,
Are we putting our power, our decisions about our children in the government's hands? I mean, or are we actually taking the time to read, discover, learn, fail? I mean, do you know how many failed parasites cleanses I've done? I just failed last week. Okay, Hulda Clark, the PhD that wrote the book, The Cure of All Diseases, right? She told me just zap your parasites 3 times a day for 7 days and you'll be fine. Well, okay. On
yeah, sure.
she doesn't know that I'm ultra sensitive and I have two MTHFR genes. And, you know, so I was clogged up and backed up on day 3, you know, and couldn't, my whole body like shut down. So did Hulda know that that would happen to me? No. But did I freak out? No. Did I start researching and decide where I could empower myself and would I have to drink bone broth or laxatives or whatever else, right, to make my body start working again? So I think we really have to, at this stage in the game, okay, because we know Western medicine is driven by big pharma. We know
Yeah.
this. Okay. And we know Eastern is a little weird for people. And integrative is somewhere in the middle, but you have to have cash, right? You got to have a lot of cash because they don't want to deal with Western, and Eastern is a little too woo woo for people. So they're falling somewhere in the middle of, I think I'm going to have to take care of myself these days.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we take care of ourselves? We do belief systems and we ask ourselves, do we trust ourselves? Do we trust our intuition? Can we trust ourselves to read a book and practice? Can we trust ourselves to phone a friend or a coach or a mentor? Can we confide in that? Can we bounce it off? Can we look stupid? Like literally,
Oh, that's a big one.
can we look stupid? Can we
Lot-
be can we be um a newborn and in an adult body and say, I have no clue, but I am going to take this time to try and observe, notice, and take action. Oh, and accept. I like that you entered in that, right? Because we have to come from a place of curiosity and I don't know. Otherwise, we'll never learn.
That is true. Which is a muscle of itself,
Yeah,
curiosity, right? Because, you said you said one word that kind of, for me, kind of said a lot, and that is permission. Giving yourself permission, right? Giving yourself permission to learn about yourself. Because, going back to the whole doctor thing in Western medicine, to a lot of, to big extent, I mean, and it's big pharma, we've been brainwashed to believe that the doctors have all the answers.
right.
And yet, like we said earlier on, Western medicine is only a century old,
Yeah, it's
maybe,
brand new.
right?
And when we
Um,
need it, we need it. But like that's not the end all be all.
right, right. So, for people who are listening that want to get started down this journey, uh, and want to get started right now. They don't want to go see a. Uh, they don't want to hire a coach. That what can they do right now that could lend them uh, positive results?
Okay, well, do you mind if I do a guided meditation?
I don't mind that at all.
Okay, let's do it. Because if they're listening, they can come back to it
Okay.
and it's free, right? And if they are not driving right now or at home, they can stop what they're doing and do a little guided meditation. And um, that's what you can always do. You can stop, meditate, and then you keep on going. So I'm going to do a little cleansing for us, if you'd like, a cleansing and a little activation.
Okay.
And that way they'll always have it. Once you
Okay.
activate, then you're basically look at activation like you're at the next step.
Okay.
You're at the next step. You've already done the work and there's nothing else you have to do but observe, notice, and take action for the next step.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, so we're going to start with our eyes closed. I like to have eyes closed because you can really start to see shapes and colors, and you want to kind of build that muscle of your intuition so that you are empowered to heal yourself. So let's
And
just
and not no heavy machinery,
no
no
machinery, no
driving.
driving.
Keep your eyes open, pull over, stop the machinery, and you guys get all that. Okay, good, good. Okay, so I'm now closing my eyes.
Okay. Okay. Close your eyes, and I want you to get a picture first of your body in your mind's eye. Start with the head and kind of see the outline of the head, the arms, the body, the legs down to the feet, okay? And you'll look like a big shadow person. Then the first layer we're going to work on is the emotional layer. So we're going to ask for the divine, the universe, sun, Mother Earth, whoever you connect with, to cleanse off your emotional layer. Anything that no longer serves you, cleanse out with an inhale and an exhale. Leaving the physical body, leaving the emotional layer. And then we're going to go to the next layer, the mental body. You'll see another line. If you see nothing, it's okay. I'm doing it for you. So just feel free to visit back. Second layer is the mental layer, asking with a cleansing breath to cleanse that physical body again and anything that no longer serves on your mental, energetic body. Exhale, bringing in the third layer of your spiritual, energetic body. We breathe in, asking to cleanse on our body, our emotional, mental, and spiritual layer. Exhale, watching everything cleanse off. And your last layer, your etheric layer, bringing it in with a breath, removing anything that no longer serves you on all of your layers, physical, emotional, spiritual, etheric, and mental. Cleansing off. Now we're going to ask for anything that is meant for you and for your highest good to come into each layer, including your physical body. This might be messages, downloads, anything that would better your life, your job, your career, your family, your friends, your loved ones. So we're going to ask for those frequencies, those energies to come in through all those layers into the physical body so that you may observe, notice, and give yourself permission to receive and accept those beautiful healing frequencies. As we go into the third eye, and when I say go in, just imagine with your eyes closed, you're going into the center of the brain, And then you're dropping behind your eyes, down the throat, down the esophagus, going into the heart, into our heart chakra. And all the magic happens right here. And giving yourself some new higher frequencies, some activations. And these words are love, patience, compassion, permission, empowerment, healing. And now just allow your spirit, your intuition to give you a couple of words that you feel like you need to program into that beautiful heart of yours. What makes you feel good? What makes you feel at peace? Just one or two words so you know that your intuition is talking to you. And then thanking your spirit and the divine, the universe, for really balancing you, for really bringing in the energetic body and the physical body as one, for whole body health and wellness. Thanking yourself for showing up today, for listening, for sticking through this, so that you can be your own self-healer. Now breathe in, breathe out, and slowly open your eyes when you're ready to receive the world.
Wow.
I really appreciate you letting me do that. It's one of my
That was
favorite little tricks, party
that
tricks.
was really cool. Now, is that something that I can, should, or not do every day?
Oh, you definitely can. Yeah, you definitely can. And
I
you
feel
can do
like that
little guided.
I feel like the more I do it, the better I'll get at it.
Yeah, it is practicing. It's practicing that muscle. It's learning really how to trust yourself. You know that you're not going to do anything wrong. If
And you,
anything, it opens up the creativity channel, right? Because now I put myself to sleep when I'm not sleepy. You know, before I would watch TV and make sure I was really tired or read a
right,
book,
right.
right? I just put myself to sleep dead awake, which is kind of funny. But I put a pillow over my third eye and my eyes, like a silk pillow, so it's nice and soft. And I just go travel. I go into my third eye and I just travel. Like I have a big financial goal right now that I want to meet by next year. So I just imagine what that goal feels like. How many people am I going to be helping? Do I even resonate with that number? I just go down into my third eye and just have fun, and see what happens.
I love that.
And
What a
then I fall
gift.
asleep.
Yeah. And what a gift that is, for people to be able to build that muscle,
Yeah.
right? Because we all go to bed with the stresses in our lives, and we all go to bed, thinking about just stuff. If we could, if we could, if we could build that muscle of exploring what you call the third eye,
Yeah.
and while you're laying in bed, letting go of that stress and just imagine fun,
Yeah, fun,
right?
travel. What do you want to do with the people you love? How do you want to live your retirement out? I mean, it does us no good to think about all the things we just lived during that day,
That's
especially if it
right.
was a stressful day.
That's right. I love that. And, you know, for me, um, you just made my meditation easy,
Oh, good. Yay.
right? Because, people say, well, just clear your mind and let, I can't stay still for 30 seconds, let alone for 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I just
I
can't, I
can
can't do
relate.
it, right?
Yeah.
But what you just gave me was kind of what I can do. And, I'll call them training wheels.
I like that.
right? At a place to start. And I felt it. I felt it as you were, I had a hard time imagining, the negative energies leaving, but I kind of felt it.
Okay, good. That's because
That
that's
visual that,
important.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
important because a lot of people turn off meditation because they don't think they're seeing it. So then their brain just comes in and their ego says, "Oh, you're not
right,
doing it right."
right, 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 right.
Yeah. So you just stick with it. And there is so many, you felt it, so you didn't see it. Okay, well, that's not saying tomorrow when you try it, you may not feel it, but you'll see it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's really good. I'm glad you said that because it's really important. It turns people off of meditation. They don't meditate.
Right, right.
And
They
even
try it and they
people that,
go, this is not working. I mean,
yeah.
they'll try it 3 times and just like, Um, and so you've given us a little formula for starting that process. And I was into it. As you were going through it, I mean, I was present. I was
Okay,
present.
yay.
My mind didn't wander, and I feel like it was productive. That was very, very cool. Lillian, close us out.
Okay, so listen to that little voice that we talked about on part one,
Yes,
right? So
yes.
part two is going to be really taking that little voice to the next step. Observe it, observe you, observe your life, observe your friends, observe your family, and then notice, what are you pushing away or what are you receiving? Notice the things going on around you. What do you like? What do you don't like? What do you need to change? What do you need to keep? And then take action. Don't be afraid to fail, appear stupid or silly or whatever. Just take some kind of action, whether that be a meditation you've never done before, or reaching out to a friend, or going on a trip that maybe scares you a little
Or
bit.
taking a 10-minute walk.
A 10-minute walk, connecting with your plants outside, planting a garden. I mean, that we could go on for days about taking action, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But really taking action in some small step. It
And
doesn't have to be big.
one thing that as you were talking about taking action, and it doesn't have to be hard, right?
Mm.
One of those things that we all go through that says, you know what, I need to do something. Otherwise, I'm going to say something stupid. Get up off your ass. Go get a cup of coffee. Go
Yep.
outside and circle the, I don't know, whatever. Do 3 circles, uh,
Yeah.
just walking and breathing, and then come back. And you might have a better chance of not saying something stupid. But listening, right? Observing, noticing, then taking some action. Yeah. Yeah.
And one thing that we just kind of skimmed over, but it was in, I think, part one too, but it's really important. Give yourself, remember when John was doing that, you were doing your little getting your words in, and what do you observe and notice about going out of country and those few things. Your intuition comes in within those first 3 seconds. Your intuition is ready to give you the correct answer.
Yes.
And the ego
Yes.
is ready for a fight and to tell you that you can't do it and that you're silly and all that stuff.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
just wanted to bring them back to, using you as an example. You were able to give me, and you had similar answers, right? Within those first 3 seconds, and you didn't talk yourself out of it or didn't sound silly. You
No,
just,
no,
you
that's
just
right.
did it.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
So, and that's the power of our intuition with our own healing.
And as you said that, I go back to we've gotten so smart we've forgotten our heart. And there's actually an institute called the Heart Math Institute,
Yes.
MATH, that has done study after study that says that the heart has its own intelligence and the gut has its own intelligence. And so, the little voice that you talk about, Lillian, I kind of think of it as that little voice is, how do you feel in your heart? How are you feeling about it, right? And what does your gut tell you? My gut tells me not to do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
right? You know, if your heart, if you get that little voice and the little voice says, yeah, it's okay, follow it, follow it. You know, one thing I have learned in my entire life is that when I listen to my heart, I listen to that voice and I listen to my gut, it's never wrong. It's never wrong.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a spiritual aspect of it, there's an energy aspect of it. And so thank you, Lillian. Thank you for sharing. And there's a lot of people. There may be only one, but it's the one person that needed to hear what you had to say.
Yeah. And I
We're
think
gonna.
that over time, we will continue to change the world one person at a time,
Oh my gosh. Oh
one
my
person
gosh.
at a time.
Yeah, and it has to happen. It is happening. I can feel
It
it.
is.
10
Yeah.
years ago, I would say in my speaking engagements that we are going to go through a renaissance of heart. And we're all going to find ourselves bringing a little more love back into the world.
Yeah.
And I feel it's happening. It's happening. And so you're a big part of it. You're a huge, huge part of it. And I've always said, and the reason for my podcast is because my daughter told me, she says, Dad, if you can help one person, you've always said that helping one person will lift the world. And I said, yeah, that's true. She
Oh, I
says,
love
so
that.
do your podcast and hope that you help one person. Give it to the universe.
Yeah,
And it's been
do
the joy of
that.
my life. So
Thank you for having me today, and I hope that, everybody lives a better life after listening.
now we have your information in the show notes, but is there a better way for people to learn about you or to connect with you?
I would love if they would check out my podcast, Awaken Change.
Yes. Yeah.
And because I am also changing the world one person at a time, and
Bingo.
I am also in love with podcasting. So I love it. I have some good messages on alternative healing and alternative medicines, and not from a doctor perspective, but just opening up the world, especially for women, because I do talk about, some things as we're aging for women. So if a lot of your listeners are men, then their significant others would probably really love Awaken Change podcast. And then I can be found on awakenchange.com. So Facebook and
Excellent.
Instagram.
Check it out, folks. Awaken Change is the name of the podcast, and Lillian Savoie is her name. Lillian, thank you for joining me. I love
Thank
you. God
you.
bless you. Thank you for
God bless.
everything that you're doing. Everybody, thank you again for joining us. I love you. God bless you. And please share this. Please share this because there's folks out there that need to hear what Lillian teaches and shares. Okay? And subscribe. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye.